morning, Nigeria. A new day has begun, and with it come new developments, stories, and conversations that matter. Welcome to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, where insight meets discussion. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako, and I'm thrilled to have you with us this morning.
And I'm Anulu. So whether you're starting your day at home or on your commute or at your desk, we're here to give you the full picture of the news, the context, the analysis behind the headlines.
Definitely. We kick off today with Daybreak Gist. The political scene is eating up as the Senate approves a transmission with a manual backup in the Electoral Act. What are the implications of this decision? We unpack the details and what it can mean moving forward.
Right after that, we'll bring you the Daybreak news, highlighting key national and international developments that you need to know this morning. That will turn to our newspaper review and analysis with Victor Akinlane, political scientist and public affairs analyst, and we explore the main stories, their angles, and the broader implications for Nigerians.
Later in our big story, we take a closer look at Aso Rock and the national grid. What is the recent power disconnection signal for citizens and policy? Joining us is Ignatius Ibosaleme Fino, public affairs analyst, to provide expert insight on the issue.
We'll also track the buzz on social media in Trend Watch, highlighting the conversations and trend Nigerians are talking about this morning.
Informed, insightful, relevant. That's how we start your day.
And just so you know, you're watching Daybreak Live on Dominion Television.
Let's get into it. Good morning.
Good morning to you, this morning.
Yeah, good morning this morning.
Yes, this morning.
Okay, so a lot happened yesterday. If you check, the newspaper outlets, videos upon videos, chants as well. I saw quite a number of that online yesterday because the Senate okays e-transmission of the election result with manual backup, and then it has caused a lot of reactions. Let's not forget that protests started on this particular matter. I think yesterday was day 4, and I would love to start from that protest itself because the report we heard and the videos we saw is that it rained tear gas yesterday on the protesters, and then people had to scamper for safety. And then I think I saw a particular correspondent for a particular TV, he was breathing heavily, trying to catch his breath because of that tear gas. And then I saw the likes of Showre, Prophet Helbubas, Simon Lalong complain bitterly that, this particular tear gas is different from the one that they are used to, because these people, they join protests and not every single time, but most times. So he said, this particular tear gas is like a poisonous one, and then it gives that peppering sensation on your skin, and then it's very terrible. And then he also mentioned that El-Rufai at the time, he granted an interview recently, and he said some poisonous gas were brought to Nigeria. He said it should be looked into. But away from that now, the Senate, there was a little bit of issue yesterday at the House. As a matter of fact, the minority leaders, they staged a walkout. They walked out of the hall because they were angry. And then I think about 55% said yes, while about 15 lawmakers said no, we are not going to accept this. So it's really sad that at the end of the day, they have agreed to told this part to see that, okay, we are not saying e-transmission should not fly, but then let's have manual backup. And I read another headline yesterday where Telecos released a statement to say that, we never said we cannot undo, or there will be no, what's it called now? There will be no network.
Yeah.
He said about 95%, they can guarantee 95%, that in these areas there's going to be network to transmit results. So we really cannot understand what the Senate and of course the House of Rep, is happening on to say that, okay, let's just make sure that, at the end of the day, if e-transmission will not work, we can then back it up with manual. But Nigerians are not having it. As a matter of fact, the people that, scamper for safety yesterday, they are promised sincerely that the protest will continue until Senate, decide to pass just electronic transmission. But a lot of persons are now trying to compare, our electoral system with countries like United States of America, talk about India and these people. They even mentioned that India at the time, they were doing a combination of electronic transmission and manual transmission, and there are so much, compare the population to Nigeria. But it's really sad that at this point in time, this might deter a lot of persons from coming out to vote at the end of the day. But just like I would say, it doesn't matter what is going on, you cannot sit at home and then grumble later to say that, okay, I did not vote for this person. At the end of the day, Nigerians are supposed to fulfill their civic responsibility. It is up to the Senate and, of course, the House of Representatives, because history will definitely write about them. If at the end of the day, this is what we agree upon, or this is what they decide to pass, if they pass the proviso that allows for both electronic transmission and the manual transmission.
Well, I think I'll jump on the bandwagon to say that electronic transmission represents progress. But democracy thrives not only on innovation, but on trust. So the broader challenge now for Nigeria is ensuring that backup systems really strengthen elections rather than weaken the system. So there's a conversation of not even about innovation, but about trust in the political arena, particularly during elections. There's been conversations we've heard before of election rigging, vote buying, vote snatching, ballot snatching, and a lot of that malpractice on all of the sorts you can talk about during elections in Nigeria. So that has really waned the trust Nigerians have in the electoral processes in the country, Nigeria, and it's not just now. So what is being fought today is not a result of just the National Assembly saying they want to have, should we say, both transmission methods of the manual and then the electronic. So it is not just about now. It's a system failure that everybody's trying to fight against. Now, it's getting more interesting because there's a sect that says that you can have one, because many countries, if you check around Africa as well, and even some developed nations, they still fall back sometimes on some other. So that's one of the the premises of some people saying, okay, that's what we're saying. It's okay to have this. We can have this because we are not there yet. Telcos, like you mentioned, said, oh yes, I mean, we can do this. Others have even said, even if telcos cannot promise you, there are other private organizations that can help you ensure that you have that electronic transmission almost across all states. It might not be possible for every of the states, because I've also been in elections where it was quite a big deal to even put out just a single bar of the network bandwidth on your phone or any other device. But it's not impossible that we can use this. So I just want to start by saying that there's been different arguments about all of these conversations, and I think one of it that I would like to mention is about trust, really. Trust. Because the biggest debate now is not just about technology, it's about public trust in Nigeria's electoral credibility. And the approval of electronic transmission is widely seen as a reform step, but also retaining manual introduces concerns about potential manipulation. So if you say that we want to use electronic transmission, you can't absolutely say that is all that it requires, that so that malpractice will not happen. There can still be some way, but it will reduce that to a very large extent. So if you have it to say this is what we are depending on, because a lot of people will go into that election to say we are not even using electronic transmission. What we are doing is manual. The way we've been doing it is the way we should do. And I think I keep saying that it's not the strongest of animals that survive, but the one that is most responsive to change. And we need to really change. If there's technology across the world, if there's innovation, why not just adopt innovation? But like I said, it's largely not about innovation. It's about trust in the electoral system. And maybe just to mention too, that one of the strong democratic highlights of this is that some lawmakers disagree, while others, agreed. So there seems to be, even there was a rounding session at the Senate House yesterday, and then you could see Abari and a host of others. It was, I don't want to mention some of the things I saw, but it was more like it was uncoordinated. They were fighting. Well, it's understandable. We need to fight for this cause because it's the right cause, right? Nigerians are saying let's have electronic transmission, and that's okay, and that suffices. They say, but the Senate is saying, okay, for want of some things, for lack of it, and maybe for the presence of others, we might not be able to use this. So there's been that question that who is really at the what do we say now? Who is at the end of this? Who is calling the shots in this? Some have said it's this particular administration, the incumbent administration of President Tinubu, the APC. Others have said, oh, it's not the APC alone. Some other persons are interested in having both methods, so they can also find a way to do one or two. But largely, I just would like to get also the point, or I pray that the Senate will be able to get us to a point where we would be able to come to the conclusion that if Nigerians really want this, why not give it to them? If you are stating that there are concerns about the fact that some places might have errors, Yes, we understand that, but also much more importantly, tell the people how that is going. Because if telcos have come to say, and some other persons have said it's possible to have transmission 100%. I've seen different comments on that to say it's possible almost everywhere in the country. So tell us something more. We don't just want to get the information that, oh, we want to use it too because of a network issue that we are envisaging, or there's a premonition that something bad will happen in some places. That's not exactly what's supposed to be communicated. What's supposed to be communicated is that, is it possible to have electronic transmission? Ask the experts. I think that's one of the things I'm not sure they did before they made up this story. Because if you come to the house, they should have, they invite people, experts, right, to come tell them they have committees set up for all of this. Is it possible that we have this? Yes. What could be the militating factor against this? This. How can we tackle this? So I think one of the things we should now start thinking is to build systems instead of just innovation, one-time innovation. Because I remember before Beavers, there was another way of collecting data, or checking people's PVC, and now Beavers came, and then so it's just the same narrative that we should embrace technology, we should embrace innovation, we should embrace progress. If there's progress, we should use it. Why not use something when it's really accessible, when it's affordable in the country? I was trying to check how much was, was requested by the INEC for this election. I saw it was in the tunes of millions and millions and millions. It was a lot of money.
Billions of naira.
Billions, right? I mean, it's a lot to even think about that we're having millions spent. What are we spending on? It should be on technology, right? It should be on innovation. It should be on making it better. I mean, with the antecedents have not been favorable, especially, we know, if you have been in Nigeria for quite a while, you have understood the trajectory, the story, the narrative. It's almost the same. But can we have it better now? That's exactly what a lot of people are questioning. Because if at first, when the Senate came out to say, oh, so we are not just using what we are using to, and then people now came, they said, oh, so let's reconvene, and then reconvened, and then it's still the same narrative. What exactly have we been debating? It was a rowdy session at the Senate House yesterday. Okay, that's fine, but let it come to a point where some have even alleged that it's the Senate president, Godswill Akpabio, that is the ringleader behind not having one system of transmission, the electronic transmission. Some have said that is I think a lot of people even said that if you, like Kenneth Okonkwo said as well, that if this does not pass in the country, then they should be held responsible. In fact, he even made a bold claim that they should get him out of the system, and that's Senator Godswill Akpabio, to say Akpabio is the one that's trying to make things difficult. It's not saying this thing is difficult, we can do it, but I'm just hoping that we get to the end of this and get it better.
Are we to say the other senators do not have a mind of their own? Because, it is very easy to say that, Akpabio is a ringleader in all of this, but what happens to the other senators who keep saying, yes, let's pass both electronic transmission and manual transmission? And then speaking about electoral fraud, really, I've asked this question before that, 3 years after the last election, what is INEC doing? Because if anything, let's not even talk about national election now. If you start a project, and then if you do a project maybe every 2 years now, and then you had the first project, and then there were some lapses, the best thing to do is to look at what caused those lapses, and look for a way to fix the gap and close up the gap, and then fix the loophole. So I really don't understand what INEC is doing with that huge amount of money that they get for election. And then away from that also, Akpabio did not comment on whether the 2027 presidential election date would shift from February 20 to January 13. Why? Because, some Muslims have complained bitterly online to say that this will clash with Ramadan. You can't expect us to go and join queues, when we are fasting. We won't do that. And then I remember in the early 2000s rather, there was something similar that happened, that the people said, okay, let's shift it because of Ramadan. But then I saw a post yesterday where a popular prophet, Prophet Samuel Olo, said that, okay, if we actually allow, election to run during Ramadan, maybe it might reduce, electoral fraud. Because some persons, because of the fasting, they might feel, okay, I'm fasting, I can't do this, I can't do that. Only month, yeah. And then some persons will say, no, really, we cannot really bank on that, because people will do what they wanted to do regardless. So it's something to look at the end of the day, to say that should we change the election dates because of Ramadan, or should we just flow with that? So it's another issue on ground now, and then they are yet to speak on that. We are still battling with electronic and manual. And I think the House of Representatives, theirs is even a little bit different from that of the Senate. Yeah. What they passed is, okay, electronic transmission should run simultaneously with manual transmission. But then if you check that of the Senate, it's a little bit different, but then at the end of the day, it's boils down to the same thing, that Nigerians are saying we don't want that, and we are going to continue to support us. As a matter of fact, if you fire tear gas, next day, 2 days later, we are still going to protest, we are still going to fight against it. So it is really a problem, and at the end of the day, I don't know why the Senate and of course the House of Representatives will not allow INEC to have a say on this matter, to say, okay, really, because even telcos, like I mentioned earlier, they said areas that cannot afford to function with 3G will function with 2G. And of course, I've listened to even analysts, popular analysts online, they have said that, okay, really, there are some places whereby you cannot even use your phone. There are some places whereby you cannot use, normal POS, the terminal. So that's part of the argument, to say that's the reason why we are calling for both manual and electronic transmission. One last point before I go. See, past administrations in this country, there are certain things that have come out to tell us this thing is not possible. It's not because we don't have money to fund it, but it's not possible. But these same things, these same issues that they have come out to say it's not possible, we are seeing private individuals make it possible. Talk about all this electricity in this federal universities. How are the private universities doing it? I can't begin to mention quite a number to you this morning. Apart from electricity, there are other things that the government have come out to tell us, okay, we cannot do this for now, let's manage what we have. Can we not grow, really? Can we not grow? If at all it's not going to work, can we give it a try? Because if the people are not satisfied with whatever it is that the Senate and the House of Rep is planning to pass, it's a problem. And then don't forget, if they eventually pass this proviso that allows for electronic and manual, I don't want to sound pessimistic right now. I don't know how long this protest, will last. I don't know if the number of persons that came out to vote in 2023, if it's going to reduce or go, because about 35% of the Nigerian population voted for the last election. That's very poor. About 35% of the nation. And then we have a lot of persons who came out to collect their PVC. So what should we expect in this? The election is so close to us because a lot of us, as they say, it's too far, we don't have time anymore. About a year to the election.
To the elections. Really. Okay, so I think I will just harp on what you've said a bit, that if citizens do not trust how their leaders emerge, then governance legitimacy becomes fragile. So it's a story that continues. It's a story that would have a sequel. Because if you say the narrative is we want both manual and electronic transmission, and then citizens don't trust this, they then will question whoever becomes their president again to say, after all, you entered through the back door. It's not as if you came in because we wanted to vote you. It was because you wanted to do whatever you want. And I mean, I think it's high time. Some have called the president to probably speak to whoever is in charge of this. I don't want to say ringleader, but whoever is in charge to say, guys, let's consider this, because this would leak. How do we put this best now? Because it will question the fact that this administration is trying to do something wrong, and they're trying to cover up for something they are about to do. Because there's been claims of people saying, we will promise you 1 million votes in this place, we promise you over 500,000 votes. So there seems to be some quarters. In fact, the FCT minister, Yesom Wike, saying that, of course, he's going to support Tinubu until they win. Like
he also said, any candidates, I'm speaking about the FCT polls now, if you don't support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are going to lose. So
there's a body language that is reflecting that whether or not you guys vote for us, we would rig this election. Whatever it takes will still remain in this present administration. 2027 will still be the presidency, will still hold the president, the APC now. So there's been claims from different, in fact, I saw you circular yesterday from the PDP, People's Democratic Party faction, saying that they want just electronic transmission because they think this administration is trying to use that to get themselves back into power come 2027. So there's been a lot of claims. So I'm saying, or a lot of people are now saying, if the president wants to really be fair, he probably should come out to say, he also supports that. If the president says he's giving assent to electronic transmission, maybe that will lessen the pressure. Happening. It might not happen, but I'm saying it can lessen the case of allegations against this administration to say they are the ones fueling this thing. They want it to be loud so that they can use one way or the other. But if you are sure that you have all of the people voting for you, or you've even done your mathematics and all of those maneuvering in politics, then you should not be scared that they should use.
And then finally on this one, before we leave, in a popular university in this country, they had their SUG election and it was 100% electronic. But you know what happened? The shocking part is after the election, students stated protest to say it was rigged. It was 100% electronic.
And that's what we talk about, the structural system damage. It's a structural damage. It's a systemic failure. So they are not. It's not even the process. It's the whole antecedent that is coming in their mind that this thing they don't regam. Nobody say they regam. You are not sure they did, but because they did before,
I can't prove it.
You can't.
But I know.
That kind of thing.
It's a lot to undo. Good luck
Absolutely.
to Nigerians. We're also Nigerians, really. Speaking about the next election. But at the end of the day, please let this not deter you from going out to cast your vote.
Very important.
Speaking about next year. Let's take weather report and let's start with Ibadan this morning. Weather feels like 26 degrees Celsius. Later in the morning is expected to be around 29 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, 35 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 7%. And in the evening, 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 4%. And overnight, it drops to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 8%, and that's where we are for Ibadan this morning.
And a few kilometers away from Ibadan to Lagos, because the weather feels like 32 degrees Celsius across border. Later in the morning, it drops to 29 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy at 5% humidity in Lagos. Also in the afternoon, it rises to 31 degrees Celsius, and it's expected to be very cloudy as well. And evening, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. It drops much further overnight to 27 degrees Celsius, also expected to be partly cloudy in Lagos today.
Okay, let's cross over to Akure South Ondo. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius. Later in the morning is expected to be at 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 34 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 6%. In the evening, it drops to 26 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 6%. And overnight, it drops further to 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 9%. That's what we have for Akure this morning.
And from Akure to the Federal Capital Territory, that's in Abuja today, because the weather starts in the morning at 29 degrees Celsius. It's going to be mostly sunny, no chance of humidity at all in Abuja today, especially in the morning hours. Of course, later in the afternoon, it rises to 35 degrees Celsius, moving 6 degrees Celsius up to become partly cloudy, and then it drops significantly in the evening to 28 degrees Celsius, also expected to be partly cloudy, and then drops much further by 4 degrees Celsius overnight to become partly cloudy at 24 degrees Celsius in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja today.
Okay, let's take it to Maiduguri, Borno this morning. Weather feels like 17 degrees Celsius. Later in the morning is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius, sunny around 0%. In the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 32 degrees Celsius, sunny around 0% as well. In the evening, it drops to 23 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. And overnight, it drops further to 19 degrees Celsius, clear around 0%. And that's what we have for Borno this morning.
And there's almost no chance of rain in Sokoto North today, because Sokoto is going to be sunny, especially in the morning and afternoon hours. 24 degrees Celsius in the morning, very sunny, no chance of humidity at all. And then afternoon, it rises much further to 33 degrees Celsius, also expected to be sunny. Well, it comes down in the evening at 24 degrees Celsius, but the weather will become clear and still no chance of rain, maybe. And overnight is 20 degrees Celsius, moving 4 degrees Celsius down, and the weather becomes clear overnight in Sokoto North today.
Okay, that's how far we can go this morning speaking about weather report. We need to take a short break now. When we come back, we take the news. But before we go, do out to follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Dominion Broadcast, and of course on X at Dominion Cast. We are live right now. Do out to drop your comment. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluakbo Idowu. The Senate has reconvened for an emergency plenary session and dissolved into the Committee of the Whole for rescission and recommittal of the Electoral Act 2022 Repeal and Enactment Bill 2026 to enable the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to adjust its election timetable. The Senate reworked for the second time in 1 week the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026, rescinding on the action it took earlier last week, when it passed the bill readjusting the 360-day notice requirement prescribed in Clause 28 to ensure that the 2027 Presidential National Assembly elections do not fall within the period of Ramadan. With this development, the Senate has, for the second time in 1 week, effectively rejected real-time transmission of election results, retaining its earlier position that where the network fails, the signed form EC8A manual transmission becomes the primary source of election results. The Sultan of Sokoto, Sultan Sa'ad Abubakar III, has declared today, February 18, 2026, as the first day of the holy month of Ramadan. He stated that the crescent moon was sighted in almost every part of the country on the 29th day of the month of Shaban, signifying that today is the first day of Ramadan 1447. Sultan Abubakar, according to a press statement made available to newsmen in Sokoto and signed by the German Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Professor Sambo Wali Junaid, called on the entire Muslim community in the country to commence the fast day in accordance with the teachings of Islam. He also called on Muslims across the country to use the month to continue praying for leaders and for an end to insecurity in the country. And now in Oyo State. In a move to boost morale and enhance effective policing, the Oyo State Police Command has promoted 691 officers across various ranks in the command as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen security and reward diligence in service. Our correspondent Damilola Daudu has more details.
State Police Command has promoted 691 officers across various ranks in Ibadan in a major career advancement exercise aimed at boosting morale and strengthening service delivery in the state. The decoration ceremony held at the command headquarters Eleyele Ibadan brought together senior officers, family and well-wishers who gathered to witness the elevation of the beneficiaries and their new ranks. Speaking at the event, the Assistant Commissioner Operation of the command, ACP Oluwabumi David Apapa, charged the newly promoted officers to see their elevation as a call to greater responsibility, professionalism and discipline. He urged them to redouble their efforts in the fight against crime and criminality across the state.
The advice I'd like to give them is that with much, this gives them a better opportunity to serve, and responsibility is also bestowed upon them now. You know, responsibility gives you the opportunity to respond to your ability.
The command's public relations officer, DSP Ayolade Olayinka, described the promotion exercise as a testament to the dedication and commitment of the officers to duty. He noted that the gesture would further motivate personnel of the command to remain steadfast and responsive in their discharge of their responsibilities.
IGP had made it a part of duty to ensure that officers are duly promoted. Both serving and retired officers are well remunerated for their service, and they are encouraged to discharge their duty lawfully. Today, in Oyo State Police Command, 691 officers were promoted from the rank of inspector to assistant superior of police.
Some of the promoted officers, while expressing appreciation to the leadership of the first, pledged renewed commitment to protecting lives and property and maintaining law and order in Oyo State. The command reassured residents of its continuous resolve to ensure adequate security across the 33 local government areas of the state. Damilola Daudu reporting for Dominion News.
In another development, the Oyo State Police Command has recorded a significant operational breakthrough in its sustained crackdown on kidnapping and violent crimes, culminating in the rescue of a kidnapped victim and the arrest of a suspect linked to a coordinated attacks in Otefon village via Oyo and Amalu village via Hauru Dada. Police Public Relations Officer PPRO DSP Ayolade Olayinka detailed that the police command immediately activated its anti-kidnapping response architecture and successfully rescued one of the kidnapped victims on hot and arrested one Ibrahim Sani in connection with the crimes. The suspect has since confessed to the commission and is in custody assisting ongoing investigations. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, Oyo State Command, reassured residents that the command remains resolute and proactive in confronting criminal elements threatening public safety, thereby urging public cooperation. Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde has banned roadside trading around Bodija Market and directed the state's rule of law enforcement agency to arrest and prosecute anyone who violates the directive. Governor Makinde, who spoke at the complex commissioning at Bodija Market, said the decision forms part of his administration's sustained efforts to restore order, improve environmental sanitation, and ensure free flow of traffic within the bustling commercial hub. The governor explained that traders currently operating across the road and other unauthorized areas would be relocated into newly constructed shops within the next 6 months, urging traders and residents to cooperate with government officials to ensure a smooth transition process. And now in business, President Bola Tinubu has unveiled Nigeria's Industrial Policy 2025, urging relevant ministries, departments and agencies to ensure its swift implementation. The president, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, launched the policy at the Bola Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja, according to a statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwoja. According to Tinubu, the policy serves as a roadmap for re-engineering Nigeria's industrial base, unlocking value across sectors and placing production, competitiveness and job creation at the center of the nation's economic strategy. Addressing the deficiencies in Nigeria's industrial landscape, Tinubu lamented that the country had long grappled with fragmented value chains, high production costs, infrastructure gaps, policy inconsistency and insufficient coordination between government and industry. And in sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons are set to face the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon in 2 friendly matches as part of preparations ahead of the 2026 Women's World Africa Cup of Nations scheduled for Morocco. In a statement by Ademola Olajire, head of NFF Communications, Mohamed Sanusi, the NFF General Secretary, noted that the Federation was committed to ensuring proper preparation for the team ahead of the clash in Yaoundé on February 28 and March 3rd. On his part, Isaac Mandong, the General Secretary of the Cameroon Football Federation, said they are excited about the opportunity to host the Nigerian national team and strengthen the ties through the collaboration. And that's about it. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast. And next, at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I am Anu Luakbo Ido. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Judge me by factories and jobs, not policy. And I want to know who said that. That's the president of Nigeria, President Tinubu, coming out to say this time around, judge me by factories and jobs, not policy counts. And that's exactly when he unveiled Nigeria's industrial policy of 2025. That's also one of the big captions on the front pages of the newspaper. Welcome to this very segment of newspaper headlines and analysis, where we get into the heart of the stories that are making the rounds across the country, Nigeria. And the newspapers that we have in the country, I have quite a few here with me, and so many stories are calling for attention. But I'm not doing this alone. I have Victor Akele joining us in the studio this morning. Good morning to you. It's good to have you in the house today.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
Yes, Victor, many things to talk about, right? If you check the prints are quite bulky and heavy because of the prints, some of the stories, I mean, layers of stories on the papers, right? But yes, let's go to the chase. Judge me by factories, jobs, and not policy counts. The president came out to say that, and then he was charging stakeholders on speedy implementation. He says admin recognizes, believes in youth potential as he unveiled Nigeria industrial policy of 2025. So, I mean, a lot of people ask the question, is this enough? When the president says judge me by factories and jobs, not policy counts. Has he been able to create enough jobs? Has he been able to create enough factories? But do you think this statement of the president is just a political statement, or is a statement that is rooted on or in statistics and data?
From him, he is trying to speak from statistics or data, like you said. But for we Nigerians, we have not seen it. We call it, we see it political, because he must be able to give us facts beyond doubt that what he's saying is based on statistics. There are no jobs anywhere. There are still millions of people out there still needing jobs. That's why we still have a lot of, let me digress a little, a lot of young chaps like us still looking into international jobs, you know, AI jobs, remote jobs. They still want to get themselves employed by Western employers, not only because they want to earn in foreign currencies, but because there are no jobs here for them to do. So their almost best option is to look outwards. So that statement is based on politics from a layman on this end, even though he's trying to claim it is statistical, which we don't believe so.
All right. Well, let's not belabor that issue. We'll still keep fingers crossed and see what becomes of this. Meanwhile, there was something that really happened yesterday, and it's making the rounds across the country. There's been conversations about Reps, Senate, and all of that. But then, the Vanguard newspaper has it this way: Reps cave in, back Senate on Electoral Act amendment. So the long and short of the conversation is there's transmission, electronic transmission, and there's manual transmission. Others have said it's possible to have just one. They're saying, yeah, of course, because of network issues, but telcos also came different narratives to say, you know, we can actually achieve this if we want to. So what do you think is responsible for this? Is it lack of infrastructure or lack of political or Senate backing? That's why we're seeing where we are.
So let me take the question again.
Okay, so I'm trying to know, because telcos, right, said it's possible to transmit election results electronically without stress in many places, and they've also said there are ways they can up the game, especially in certain areas that might not have that much of bandwidth. And then that's the claim from the telcos. Others have said too that if they really want to do this, they can do it. So there's been that question of why is the Senate going back and forth and eventually still going back to what they said against what Nigerians are protesting against when they had the Occupy National Assembly protest. So there's been that claims that maybe they are trying to, maybe there's an undertone, political undertone, to say they want elections to be rigged, they want malpractice come 2027. That's what some have alleged that the Senate and the reps are really doing. But, you know, on their own side, they said there's network issues too, and that's one of the reasons they might not get that transmission, electronic transmission, to pass exactly. So where do you stand in all of this?
If they want to do it, they can do it. If they want to do an electrified or electronical transmission, it is possible. It is very possible. Election in Nigeria takes a particular, what's the word now, funding. Now, I don't know for what 2027 election funding would be, but if we really want to electrify this thing, if the election for 2027 is meant to be 40 billion, for instance, if you put all of this electrification and all of those modalities into it, some of these things will be reduced and some will be increased. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is it is possible. Nigeria has the money to fund such advancements. So why are we not doing it? Then there are some ulterior motives to it. It's that simple. If we televise or electrify transmission, then rigging will be out of the game. Some other electoral malpractices will be out of the game. And they don't want it.
You see, okay, so there's been claims that there is an attempt to sabotage the election come 2027. But some have said that it is not just about the election, but, you know, across board now, for many Nigerians, the situation has been that there's been the case of distrust. It's not even just about innovation. It's not about bringing technology into the play. Some are saying that we've not had distrust in this electoral process in the country, and that's why we are coming out to protest. But looking at it from, you know, from maybe, should we say, a broader view now, do you think if the Senate eventually goes on to say we are using both methods, do you think that's going to help election, or that's going to help this country going forward, come 2027 elections?
So why should we have two? Let's just have one.
But they claim
Having
there's
two-
network issues in certain places.
Having two is waste. Okay, maybe not waste of resources, but it will be more expensive to run the two. Let's run one. Let's run the electrified one. Simple. We have done the manual one for how many years now? We've seen the results over the years. Let's try something new, at least for the first time. So network issue, I repeat my statement. If we want to do it, we will do it. All we need to do is to, there's still a little time. We still have about 7 months or more into the election. What you want to do, look at this. If anybody wants to campaign for an election, if anybody wants to contest for a political position, when does he or she start campaigning? Like a year before, for one day election, like a year before. So if you are going to do a general election in 2027, and then we want to reinforce our, what did you call it now? What's the word now? Network. Okay. We want to better our network from everywhere. 7 months is enough to do that. Liars with a telecommunication company, or maybe, yes, of course, we have 4 already in the nation. Liars with either of them, or even all of them, to give a better, network in every area that you think might be affected. And that's simple. And that's just simple. If we want to do it, we can do it.
Yeah, so let's talk about just that conversation. There's also the conversation of shift the dates because of Ramadan come 2027. So the dates that has been fixed according to INEC that was submitted as a timetable date actually falls on this kind of time, sometime in February, where Muslims will be fasting. There's been the claims, of course, people saying that, of course, senators also mentioned that it might affect voter turnout come 2027, because someone who is fasting is not expected to have much strength to stand, because you understand the rigorous process of sometimes voting in the country. So they've said, can we shift it forward? Others have said maybe there's a plan to buy more time so as to do evil. But let me know where you stand, Victor, before I even go ahead.
Well, I may not say anything bad in buying time. During February, Buhari and who was that? Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan, then it was moved forward. And whatever, Buhari won, whether they use that to buy time for whatever. So it has happened before. So it has happened before, it can happen again. And this time that is happening again, I feel is happening for a better purpose. People are fasting, they might not have the strength to stand for long under the sun. That bill could be passed. But so if it is now an opportunity to buy more time to conduct some more fraudulent electoral practice, well, it is still possible.
Okay,
but
so
I feel it's not really bad to move it forward for whatever good reason, and Ramadan is a good reason.
Absolutely. So so there's been the other conversation on the other hand as well about shifting the time. But what do we say to INEC? Before you submit your timetable, have you not checked antecedents? So that's exactly where we have to beg the question of proper planning. You want to set a date for something as big as the election, and then you just go straight without considering every odds, the pros, the cons, and every of the things, that the intricacies of all of that, and then you come out to say this. But I sometimes I beg the question to say, why do we just do things without really consulting, without really checking the facts, without even checking into history and antecedents, and so we can plan better?
Yeah.
But what do you say about this?
It still boils down to, okay, so I will say two things. I'll have a positive and a negative. So firstly, Ramadan sometimes can, the moon, the calendar always shifts.
Dictates when,
yes. So if they say because of that reason, Ramadan shifts, okay, so that is a reason, well, we can forgive that. But on the other hand, I still always believe that government parastatals, government agencies, many times they are not always on top of their game. Nigeria government, civil service, public service, many times they still they are still always behind. They still don't meet with expectations. Their capacity is still very low. They still discharge duties as though they were in the analog ages. While you see corporate organizations, the corporate sector is doing advancedly well, better than government sector, which is terrible as a nation. So yes, they need to begin to learn how to consult all odds before coming to a conclusion. That's number one. Number two, like I said, I say it over and over. When these people are being appointed, appoint the capable hands. Employ or hire or appoint capable hands that can do well. Number one. Number two, those that are in each agencies, in each parastatals, let them go on sabbaticals. Let them go for trainings, career advancement. Let them learn more. It will shock you that if you go to the secretariat today, a lot of these public and civil servants don't know how to use technology. You will see some offices don't have a computer, and some which have so advancement is important. Technology is growing every day, and government should what's the word now? Evolve on daily basis, just as the corporate sector is also evolving. So that's
all
the
right.
thing.
So let's take this from the EFCC. EFCC to secure remand order to detain El Rufai till end of investigation. I know you've been in the know as to how this has been in the country, but I want your thought on this. What do you make of all the, because some have said it's politicized, others have said there's been cases of being complicit to insecurity in Nigeria, especially when it was Kaduna State Governor. I remember when he was nominated and the Senate pulled him out because they said for security reasons and some other reasons as well, they said he might not go on with that particular nomination. And then they came out to say something about Nuhu Ribadu, the NSA, National Security Advisor's phone being tapped, and a lot of things that brought him into this big issue that it currently is. But what do you make of all of this? What do you see as the light after the tunnel for him?
The light after the tunnel for him is blinking now. He played into the hands of federal government. He played into the hands of federal government, played into the hands of the opposition party, played into the hands of those who don't like him. So the lights at the end of the tunnel might not be off, but it's not brightening. It's not shining brightly. You get it? So if they detain him till this investigation, maybe he will be in detention till the end of it. It is possible. Number one, he's a Nigerian. It's not above the law. And so if the law says he has to be detained, then he has to be detained. Again, all the charges against him is guilty of a larger percent of the charges. So he has to speak himself out of those charges. So yes, it's possible. So my ground is the end of the tunnel, the light there is blinking for him. He played himself into the hands of his enemies.
Yeah. Speaking of enemies now, but no disrespect anyway. Free Nnamdi Kanu or return him to Kenya. Southeast Monarch tells Tinubu. I know you also know about this, but there's been the issue of others saying that Igbos are not really standing for their own, especially with Nnamdi Kanu. They've laid claims to Sunday Igboho being Yoruba, and that's why he's moving freely. And then Nnamdi Kanu cannot have the same because some people are not standing. Now it seems like the Southeast monarchs are saying that we want his release. But the federal government has made it clear, DSS and then maybe the court of law as well has made it clear that yes, he is culpable and he has to also face whatever he's facing. But where do you see? What do you make of this story? How do you see this trajectory?
First off, let's go back to that idea of Igboho is moving freely. Let's first clarify that notion. The crime or the charges against Igboho are not as heavy as the charges against Kanu. Let's first clarify that. And at a point, Igboho was it Benin Republic? He was, he was held there. He wasn't allowed to come into the nation. So I think people should speak from facts and not from emotions. There was a time that he was, I don't know the right word to use, he was reprimanded, am I right? In another nation. You couldn't come into Nigeria for a particular period. Then after which he was able to come in, but then his movement was still restricted. And that's another fact, is that his own charges, what he did, are not as heavy as what Kanu did.
But some Kanu supporters will not agree with you.
Because they're emotional. That's the truth, because they are emotional. That's why I said we should speak on facts. We should speak on facts. Part of Kanu's charges is national treason. That was not conferred on Sunday Igboho. You get it? So we need to we should clarify facts. That's it. Secondly, the question is, should they be released or not? And the Igbos are not fighting for their own. Not everybody will believe in a policy. We believe in an idea. You get it? from my siblings, my brother might come up with a particular policy that is not, that I won't support. It's possible. We have freedom of rights, freedom of opinion and all that. So yes, it's possible that some Igbos don't support him. That's it. But now, should we release him to Kenya or still leave him in detention? That should be left for national discretion. It's not the monarchs. It is not for anybody to decide. It is a sole decision by the government. What does the law say about this? Then let law have its course. My submission.
I would like to say a big thank you to you, Victor Akinleye, for joining us this morning.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Of course, we will now switch focus to the big story with Oluwayemi Adelakun after this break. Join us again.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Leadership is not tested by comfort at the top, but by commitment in times of collective hardship. Today on Big Story, we interrogate a moment that speaks volumes about power, promise, and responsibility. A moment that forces us to ask, what message does it send when the seat of power disconnects itself from the system that people are forced to endure? In 2023, Nigerians were under the promise, clear, bold and unambiguous. Then presidential candidate Bola Tinubu, flying the flag of the All Progressives Congress, declared to the nation, "If I don't give you constant electricity for 4 years, don't vote for me when I come back for a second term." Those words resonated deeply in a country where darkness has become routine, where businesses collapse under generator cost, hospitals battle power outages, and households live in hope rather than light. The national grid, already fragile, has collapsed repeatedly under this administration, at least 12 times between mid-2023 and late 2024. In early 2026, it failed more than once in a single week. Then came the announcement. Aso Rock Villa plans to disconnect from the national grid, relying instead on a 17 billion naira solar power project. At the same time, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project raises alarm over more than 128 billion naira allegedly missing from the power sector, funds meant to fix the very grid Nigerians depend on. According to the Auditor General's report, billions were paid without documentation, projects without evidence, and public funds without accountability. History reminds us that since 1999, successful government have failed Nigeria's power sector. This is not an argument against renewable energy. Solar power is the future. Today on Big Story, we examine what the disconnection of Aso Rock truly means for Nigerians, for democracy, and for accountability. My guest is a researcher, public affairs analyst, Ignatius Boseleme Ofino. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako, and this is Big Story. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Yimi.
Good morning, Ofino. Okay, what we are looking at this morning is a bit intense. I mean, for a lot of Nigerians, at the time when the current president was contesting, he made a promise to Nigerians: if I don't give you steady electricity, do not vote for me. Looking back now, about 32 months into his administration, how well will you explain that promise and what is obtainable in Nigeria today in terms of electricity?
Thank you very much, Yimi. The president did made a promise during his campaign.
Yes.
That if I don't give you a constant electricity supply, don't vote for me if I come back for a second term. That was the promise he made.
Yes.
But now has he fulfilled that promise? Constant power supply in Nigeria has become what we call elusive. Now, when we are talking about power generation in this country, Nigeria is so endowed naturally. There are different ways you can be able to generate electricity. But we are talking about renewable energy now, which is a clean energy.
Okay.
You talk about the solar energy. But now, for solar energy generation is limited. Let me give you an example. You know, we have what we call the mini solar panel in our homes that we use. Not every of these electrical appliances can it be able to generate, to carry. But when we are talking about hydro electric power supply, you are talking about water. It has the capacity to light every of your electrical appliances at home and in industries too. Now, this government made a promise. Now, the government is yet to fulfill that promise. Now, money has been spent, undocumented, 128 billion. And yet, we don't have what we call a constant power supply. And the president has a decision to make now. He wants to disconnect Aso Rock from the national grid. And he's going to spend a huge sum amount of money, 17 billion naira for solar power panel. To me, there is one thing we must understand. This government, do they actually have a focus when it comes to the issue of welfare development? You must have a focus. That has been the bane of the problem in this country. There is no consequence for violation. The Mambila project is there too. That became a scam. There was the Alibotin scam again concerning the issue of power. There has been a lot of corruption in the power sector in this country.
Fido, many of his loyalists have argued that the president is not a magician. That even if at all he promised that while he was contesting, people should give him more time, he's still ruling in his first term. What do you make of that?
The president said that if I don't provide for you a constant power supply, you should not vote for me if I come for a second term. He has made it. The choice is now live. The ball is now in the court of Nigerians to decide whether they want him back or not. But based on his word, he's not supposed to come back. Because he failed to fulfill that promise. You don't lie under oath. You don't deceive the people. Do you know why people voted for him? They felt that this is a reminiscence of Awolowo. That they see him as a reincarnation of Awolowo. But believe you me, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR is not an Awoist. He's a man of his own. The same thing applies to Chief MKO Abiola. He's not an Awoist. There's one thing I like about Abiola. He did not campaign on the mantra of Awolowo's philosophy. But Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was always campaigning on the mantra of what? Awolowo, that he is an Awoist. Mind you, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a capitalist. Chief Jeremiah Oyeniyi Obafemi Awolowo is a socialist. You can see.
Ofino. So what will you make of what is happening currently? Because apart from the politicians, the governors, in his party that are contesting for him, people are even promising him vote, 2.5 million votes. We are going to give you the entire Abia. You are going to win Abia and things like that. What do you make of Nigerians who are also, supporting this current administration, and they have vowed that they will support this administration with their resources, with everything that they have, and they are Nigerians?
You are talking about the political class. Not the totality of Nigerians. You are not talking about the Nigerian masses. Those that are talking that we promise the president 3 million votes, 100 million votes. Those are the politicians.
But there are Nigerians who are not politicians who are also supporting this.
The political class represent what? A microcosm of the larger society. It is the Nigerian masses that are being oppressed that will decide who is going to govern them in 2027. What do you expect the APC loyalists to say? They don't want their party to lose. What do you want the PDP to say? They want their party to win. Let me tell you what this man said, Thomas Shankara of Burkina Faso. He said, we cannot be friends of those who oppress us, who exploit us, and who also did what? Humiliate us. I repeat again, Thomas Shankara of Burkina Faso of blessed memory. You know what he said? He said, we cannot be friends with those who oppress us, who exploit us, and who also what? Humiliated us. That's a philosophical maxim. It's now left in the hands of what? The masses who have been deprived of basic amenities, who have been deprived of constant electricity supply.
Okay, Ofino, it cannot be proven to the large extent, especially looking at what is going on in the country now. I'm sure you are aware of the City Boy movement. Majority of those people who are now, taking up the flag now, doing all sorts, for this current administration, they supported a particular candidate in the last election. But now they have tilted towards this administration, and they are members of the City Boy movement. And many of them are campaigning seriously, for this administration. And
there's one thing we call media propaganda. It's all about media propaganda. We have seen cases. A governor will commission 2 kilometer length of road. 2 kilometer length of road. But when the media want to zoom it, they will zoom it that it was 10 kilometers. 2 kilometers will be inaugurated. The remaining 8 kilometers will be left undone. It happened in this country. Media propaganda. I don't believe in media propaganda. That was why Malcolm X made a statement. It was a philosophical statement. You know what he said? He said the press is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the guilty innocent, and the innocent guilty. This is power. But how justified is this assertion on ethical grounds? So it's all about media propaganda. The media propaganda is there on print. It is also there on visual. It is also there on the social media platform. It is the masses that must decide whether they want to liberate themselves from the siege of oppression or not. Freedom is a choice. Slavery is also a choice.
Ofino, now let's talk about past administrations, because another argument that this administration has brought to the fore is that past administrations could not even solve this problem of, power. And then they keep pumping money into it. And of course, they are saying, do not actually, take it out on us as well. So give us more time. As a matter of fact, it's looking impossible. Is it possible for Nigeria to have a government that will solve the problem of electricity?
We need a radical leader. A radical leader that is focused, that has that vision,
Like
that is willing to die for the country. Let me give you an instance. General Muritala Muhammad, Ramat Muhammad, of blessed memory. He only ruled Nigeria for 6 months before he was being assassinated in a failed coup by Lieutenant Colonel Sumka Dinka. But up to date, people are still celebrating General Ramat Muritala Mohammed. He ensured that most of the public infrastructure in this country today became what? Indigenized.
But that was many years ago, Fede.
That was in 1975-76.
2026.
Yes! Most people that were in that regime, they are still part of us today, who witnessed that generation, who witnessed that era. So if the president has made a promise that if, look at it, conditional clause, if I fail to give you a constant power supply, you should not give me your vote for a second term bid. We are not fools in this country. We are sane. Most of us are very intelligent. Forget about those, the masses, who have become what? Moles. Among the masses, we have those who have betrayed the struggle. They are there. The possibility is there to judge each and every one of us for what we have done in this country. If you have done what is good for this country, posterity will judge you right. If you have also done what is evil for this country, posterity will also judge you right. Now, the president has made a promise, and that promise is yet to be fulfilled.
Ofino, let's talk about the 17 billion naira now set aside for this new solar system for Asurok. And of course, the 128 billion naira talked about by Serap. The defense of the government about this solar is that they are trying so much to ease the burden on the national grid. Does that argument, does it appeal to you in any way?
It's a weak argument. Very weak. I like this man, Mahatma Gandhi. He told the Indians that we will continue to use our textile. We won't use foreign textile. He was always using the Indian textile. It's just a long yarn like that. Just like a wrapper.
Okay.
Over his body. Then he has a small structure. Mahatma Gandhi has a small structure. As the first Indian leader, he was the one that led them in that struggle. He believes in what we call non-violence when it comes to the issue of agitation. Now, we are talking about providing electricity for Nigerians, not as a privilege, as a right. Electricity should be a basic right, not a privilege. In this country, it's a privilege. Now, you have to provide electricity for yourself in this country. You have to provide security for yourself in this country. You have to provide quality healthcare delivery system for yourself in this country. You have to provide quality education for yourself in this country. Now you ask yourself, what is this country actually providing for us? Does not speak well. If Nigeria decide to disconnect from the national grid, I'm talking about the presidency, the seat of power, it does not speak well. It demeans the international image of this country. Why should you go for that? We know that solar power, solar energy is a renewable form of energy. You want to reduce the cost of governance. The only way to reduce the cost of governance, go and implement Stephen Oronsaye panel report. You know what that panel said? He said you have to downsize the economy, right-size the economy. There are too many duplication in ministries, departments and agencies of government. You will see that in Nigeria today, recurrent expenditure is higher than capital expenditure. Recurrent expenditure, it is only the few that are privileged that will enjoy it. Those that are working as civil servants in ministries, departments and agencies of government. But when you are talking about capital infrastructure, Every one of us as citizens, we enjoy it. You are talking about roads, bridges, airport, seaport, schools, hospitals. Those are capital infrastructure. You are talking about power infrastructure too, electricity. You are talking about pipe-borne water. Those are capital infrastructure. Each and every one of us as citizens, we benefit from it.
Ofino.
So when you want to reduce the cost of governance, you don't tell me because you want to reduce the cost of governance. That is why you want to disconnect Aso Rock from the national grid. I will not concur to that.
Oh, they are saying it's the heartbeat of the nation, and of course, nothing should go wrong.
I keep saying it today. I do not succumb to them. They should find a way of improving our power infrastructure. When you look at this national grid, some of them are obsolete. That is why I keep saying. That is why I keep saying you have to develop the steel industry. Without developing the steel industry, you can never have a stable power supply in this country. You cannot, but the president made a promise that if I fail to give you a constant electricity supply, don't give me your vote for a second term bid. He has already shot himself on the leg. He should not take us for granted.
Okay.
So the issue there is that go and develop the steel industry. When you have a large deposit of iron ore. Now, sorry to digress. We keep complaining of power shortage in this country. Epileptic power supply. What about building collapse? Do you know why the buildings are collapsing? Because of substandard iron rods. And you know quality iron rods is very costly. Assuming we have developed our steel industry, the Ajaokuta Steel Complex, the tendency is there for us to have what we call skyscraper in this country. We will have skyscraper. People will no longer be interested in building what we call bungalows. People will not be building what we call story buildings. Because they know that we have quality iron rods. We have quality steel products. When you are talking about iron, steel is the alloy of iron and carbon based on chemistry.
Because of time, this government have also argued, sincerely to say that, most, foreign countries, developed countries, they have also adopted this solar, and they've combined it with the primary source of power. And so there's no big deal if Nigeria decide to also, adopt the solar. So should we begin to compare ourselves now with Western countries?
The solar that was being developed by the West or by Nigerians, which one should the president go for? If the solar panel was a solar panel that is being developed in Nigeria, I would have celebrated him. That this solar panel that will power Aso Rock is one of the products that was developed by Nigerians. I will celebrate the president. Not going to the West to buy solar panel that is costing 17 billion and you want people like me to celebrate you. No, it's not possible. A right-thinking government must think deeply. Capital outflow, capital inflow. Which one is better? In economics, exports should be greater than import. Especially capital goods. That is what we are telling them. Do you know the high level of corruption that has occurred in the power sector in this country? The Alibotin scam is there. The Mabila project scam is also there. Now we talk about the Siemens too. It's there. It has always been Nigerian. Even in the defense sector, there was also a scam too. High level corruption there too. Nothing to celebrate.
Okay, so Ofino, looking at things that have happened because of this poor electricity over time. I mean, there was a time that hospitals had to shut down. People died because of this electricity problem. Is it that the right authorities who are supposed to communicate these things to the government are not doing their job? Because at the end of the day, the government is supposed to listen to the people.
Do you know why? Yimi, your country, our country, does not believe in human dignity. Celebrate the white man performing surgery. They don't want a pregnant woman to lose her life. They don't want her to lose her baby too. Surgery in medicine, medical research. They want our life to be prolonged. Look at the drugs we are using. They all came from what? Herbal product. They were able to refine it. We have to be honest to ourselves. We are in a country that does not believe in human dignity. We have a government both past and present, that does not believe in human dignity. What they believe is greed. And Nigeria has 3 problems. There are 3 problems that has actually affected this country. I will tell you this morning. The first one is what we call rent-seeking syndrome. Rent-seeking syndrome is a phenomenon in which a country that is blessed with natural resources fail to maximize that natural resources to the fullest by exploiting it and transforming it to become a finished product, but only depend on what we call multinational companies to exploit that resources for them. And what do they call it? Royalties. That is why the 4 refineries we are having in Nigeria today is not working, because of the joint venture between NNPCL and multinational companies in this in Nigeria. They are the ones that have the oil platform, the oil rings. That's number 1. Then number 2, there is what we call free rider effect. The issue of free rider effect is also a problem in this country. This is a situation in which citizens are benefiting from basic infrastructure they are not paying for. In a capitalist economy, nothing is free. Anything that is free does not have value except air.
Is capitalism not doing more harm than good?
In Nigeria, the way our leaders are handling it is doing us more harm than good.
Should we not?
But in America, they practice what we call capitalism plus welfareism. But our own is just capitalism without welfareism. Then the third one is what we call Dutch disease. And what do we mean in economics when we say Dutch disease? This is a phenomenon in which the development of a particular sector lead to the decline in other sectors of the economy. The oil boom was more of a curse than a blessing in Nigeria.
In 1970s?
Yes!
Really?
The oil boom was more of a curse than a blessing in Nigeria. So we talk about the Dutch disease. When the development of a particular sector of the economy lead to a decline in the development of other sectors of the economy. You know, we have the agricultural sector, we have the manufacturing sector, we have the oil and gas sector. So during the oil boom, Nigeria now decided to neglect the agricultural sector. Now Nigeria is now a food import dependent economy.
Well, the government is trying to put in place certain measures to, give loans to farmers to encourage agriculture.
Political farmers.
But apart from
not
that,
really farmers.
Ofino, is insecurity not even doing more harm?
It's doing more harm. Insecurity caused by who? Caused by Nigerians themselves and their government. We have to be honest to ourselves. So when we are talking about leadership, we have had leadership that have failed in this country. So, and presently we are having a failing leadership.
Ofino, because of time, what effect do you think this disconnection will have on the next general elections?
It does not speak well. It does not speak well. I would have been excited that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu want to fix our national grid.
He's not saying he's
he wants to develop the Nigeria steel sector. He is planning to ensure that the solar panel that he wants to install in Aso Rock is a solar panel that is being manufactured by Nigerians as a novel.
But Ofino, he has never come out to say, I'm not going to fix the national grid. He has never come out to say that.
May 29 will be exactly 3 years.
Yes.
And when we are talking about project normally have what we call a time frame. There are some projects that will last for 48 months. There are projects that will last for 10 years. Government is a continuum. What he will have told Nigerians is this, not exaggerating. He exaggerated and he goofed. The president exaggerated.
What if he had good intentions?
He may have good intention. Good intention is not enough. That is an exaggerated system. If I should come out and tell Nigeria that I'm going to fix Nigeria in the space of 24 hours, that is exaggeration. What I will tell them is this. What I'm going to ensure is that I'm going to start fixing the economy. But I will make sure that within the space of 4 years, at least we'll have done something like, say, 40%. So if they now discover that this president is trying, he has done the project for 40%. The sincerity is there. He has that political will. They'll give him the second term. In the second term, they know that the probability is there for him to also fix it for another 40%, making what? 80%. No, any candidate the president will now present, people will vote for that candidate again so that he can be able to complete the remaining 20%. Government is a continuum.
The last question before we go now. Now that a lot of Nigerians can no longer rely on the manifesto of the candidates that are contesting election.
Public distrust.
Okay, what other ways can the citizens determine to say, okay, this is the best person for the job? Because the manifesto, most politicians do not even follow. Some of them will campaign again with the same manifesto they didn't fulfill the first time, when they are contesting the second time.
The masses also have problem on their own too.
In what way?
When they are saying that this is the best, you are referring to someone, this is the right person. What about you? Are you also not the right person?
No, everyone cannot become a politician.
No, there's something like I will see on this platform this morning. Every Nigerian is a potential president. But not every Nigerian will be lucky to be elected president in a lifetime. I repeat again, every Nigerian citizen is a potential president.
In a country where it costs...
But not every Nigerian citizen will be so privileged to be president in a lifetime.
Because I was going to say, in a country where it costs, millions or billions of naira to contest elections. Yeah, every Nigerian might be a potential candidate or a potential president, but it costs a lot to even enter into that realm of politics in itself. And don't you think contesting election in this country is even too expensive? And so it has, deterred a lot of persons, from saying, I want to join politics.
There is one thing Martin Luther said. When you are looking at the speech, he said, I have a speech, I have a dream. Did it not come to pass? It came to pass. And that dream came to pass during the days of what? Obama. When Barack Obama was elected as the first African American president. Martin Luther King saw the future. That a day will come, my children will not be judged
by their skin color.
But by the content of their character.
So that
was a philosopher.
Nigerians should dream.
Yes.
Okay.
We have a leader. One day the leader will emerge.
Okay.
Cyprian Quincy of Ghana wrote, the beautiful ones are not yet born in Ghana. The same thing applies to Nigeria. The beautiful ones are not yet born. When it comes to the issue of right leadership in Nigeria, what we are having in Nigeria today is sycophants.
I think it's a fine place to leave it this morning. It's a conversation that will continue maybe after the elections. But then, if is saying to Nigerians this morning, dream big. Have a dream, have a big dream. It's a fine place to leave it this morning. Of course, we need to go. Power that isolates itself from the people ultimately loses its moral authority. As we conclude today's discussion, and of course, Ofino has been able to reel out quite a number of things. One truth stands firm. Electricity is not a privilege. It is a basic responsibility of governance. Yes, Nigeria's electricity crisis is decades old, but leadership is not measured by inherited problems. It is measured by response, effort, and honesty. Nigerians do not demand miracles. They demand commitment, transparency, and visible progress. As Nigeria enters closer to another election cycle, this moment must not be forgotten. Promises must be scrutinized, performance must be measured, leaders must be held accountable, not by sentiment but by result. Renewable energy should light the nation, not just the villa. Reform should strengthen the grid, not abandon it. And democracy must deliver dividends beyond speeches. History is watching, Nigerians are watching, and the ballot box, ultimately, we remember Amoluayemi Adelakun. And a big thanks to Fino Ignatius Abosalime for being a part of Big Story this morning. Thank you. We need to take a short break and when we come back, we move on to Trend Watch. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
And thank you for staying with us. Of course, now to Trend Watch today to talk about something buzzing and making the rounds across the country right now on the social media pages, if so to say, if there's any page like that anyway. But yes, the conversation is that Tinubu Akpabio plotting to make Nigerian elections empty ritual, reverse our independence. Ex-presidential candidate Adebayo has come out to say that, he spoke at the Occupy National Assembly protest yesterday at the National Assembly in Abuja. He alleged that the current administration, alongside lawmakers, is attempting to institutionalize election rigging through legislative amendment. Of course, he spoke about the former presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party (SDP), Adewale Adebayo, accused President Bola Tinubu and the Senate President Godswill Akpabio particularly of allegedly plotting to undermine Nigeria's sovereignty by legitimizing electoral malpractices. And that's exactly the conversation. But, it won't be new to a lot of people because he actually described the alleged move by the ruling All Progressives Congress as unfortunate and regrettable, warning that such actions could erode the democratic foundation secured at independence. So it was making reference to past and our forefathers, how they came before independence and what the things they did just to make this happen. And then he also argued that the issue at stake goes beyond partisan politics, framing the gathering as an act of democratic participation rather than protest. But of course, that conversation has been, some people have been asking the question that who exactly is belling the cat, especially with this narrative of the electronic transmission of results for the elections that is forthcoming. But others have even argued on a number of occasions that it seems this administration is more interested in rigging the election, even when it claims to have a lot of people. When he asked about 28 governors, is that it?
No, about 31 governors
31
now.
governors. So if you have 31 governors, they are still trying to rig. I say it really doesn't add up. But some are saying it is a game that I want to become president again comes on 27 at all costs. So that's why a lot of persons are questioning why this move is also in that regard, to say this move is also targeting rigging. This guy said he has a lot of people that are going to vote for him, but he's still trying to rig. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for some persons.
You see, it's really sad that this is not the first person that will come out to say this. I mean, it's made the news, it's made the headlines because he's quite popular. Most Nigerians, the commoners, those persons, in the core of the villages across the nation, they are coming out to say that it appears that this government is trying to do something sinister. But then there's this popular saying that you go explain tire. See, if this should stand, this government will explain, honestly, because I mean, it will take a lot for them to come out of this and say we have nothing to do with these at all. It's just the senators and of course the House of Representative members who are saying let's pass the electronic transmission alongside the manual. It's a problem, and just like I mentioned this morning, yesterday was day 4 of the protest, and the protesters are saying, if you like, come and do come and do your worst. I mentioned that, you know, the likes of Showore said the tear gas that was fired was not even tear gas, it was a poisonous one.
Even Peter Obi as well.
Exactly. This is to complain bitterly that, you know, some persons, you know, were choking, really. So it is a problem. So they are saying, regardless what happened yesterday, we are going to stand on our ground and then keep protesting on this particular matter. So it depends on this current administration, whatever it is they want to be written about them, you know, in the books of history, to say, okay, we want to maintain this. At the end of the day, it still depends on every Nigerian to decide, will I still come out to vote, whether this is passed or not? Will I sit down at home and still grumble? At the end of the day, your vote is your power. Whether they're going to rig or not, come out, go to the polling unit and cast your vote.
Cast your vote.
Definitely.
Okay, let's take a few comments, just a few ones that we can see. Dem Cheo says, Aselem Krizi says, this is honestly unsettling. Democracy should never feel like a performance. Whether you support them or not, Nigerians deserve to trust that their votes truly count. When that trust erodes, the entire foundation weakens. Someone said something in power.
Okay, then let's take this last comment. I don't understand this person.
Okay, so
Blackface Entertainment. How to know? Honestly, this person is just very funny.
And
really.
of course, that's
But
what
people are just trying to say that, okay, at the end of the day, let's pass electronic transmission. While the Senate and House of Rep is saying we want to pass it, you know, simultaneously with the manual one. So go out and vote. That's the cocoa
I've
of
always
this
been
matter.
voting. Perhaps I should ask you.
No, I didn't ask you that question. I'm telling the people. I'm speaking to Nigerians. Really.
And that's a good place to draw the curtains on this edition of Daybreak Live today. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, your vote is your power, your voice is your power. Use everything you can to make Nigeria better. My name is Anula Akwedo, and bye for now. I'm
Oluwayemi Adela. Continue to join us tomorrow for another edition. We do hope that there will be good news in the papers to discuss tomorrow. Bye for now. Thank you.